Mr. Chairman, thank you. Secretary Yellen, thanks for being here as well on it. This morning, I actually sent over a letter to you just because it is the 1-year anniversary of the ProPublica release, actually. And the challenge that we have is getting information about taxpayer information and how it is kept secure. We have asked for just a hearing, just a briefing, just to be able to sit down with you and your team and say, how is taxpayer information being protected? What has changed in this time period? We're not asking for the specific 6103 information. We're not trying to get into the specifics of what's out there with ProPublica. We know there's an investigation. But at the 1-year anniversary, we just want a yes or no answer. Can we get a briefing with you and with your team on how taxpayer information is now being protected and what's changed?
I will certainly ask my team about that and have them get back to you, and we'll try to arrange something. Let me just say, it is very high priority. Look, disclosure of confidential government information is illegal. It's something we take very seriously. There are procedures and controls in place.
We're just a year into it, and we haven't got any information on what's actually happened. So we've heard that, but we just don't know what's actually happening behind the scenes. We just continue to hear and see information leaked out over and over again. So we want to get as much information as we can on it and what's being done, how things have changed.
Absolutely. I don't think that there's information that's being leaked out over and over again. If there is, I'm certainly not aware of it.
Well, thank you. We'll follow up on that. We would like that briefing time on the OECD question on this. This is a challenge for us as we're just trying to keep flow of information as well of what's actually happening on it. In this case, I'm going to show you a map real quick. In this case, we've got an American company. This American company has done everything we've asked them to do based on tax policy. Their jobs are here. Their intellectual property is here. Their research and development is all being done here. They've done all that according to our tax code that Congress has passed to incentivize that. Now, all these countries in the dark blue will have leverage over those American companies that are following our tax law to be able to determine how much they're going to now pay overseas. So if China or the UK gives a subsidy instead of actually having R&D credits on it, then suddenly these American companies following American law are now going to pay more. So our concern on this OECD agreement that's happening is it seems to be structured to incentivize companies to move their IP internationally or to move their R&D internationally. That would allow them to be able to balance out their tax portfolio. Help me understand where I'm wrong on this.
I don't understand that. I mean, we are the only country that imposes any minimum tax on the foreign earnings of our multinational corporations. It's currently at 10.5%, but on a blended rather than country-by-country basis. No other country does this, and what this global deal is going to do is to force every other country around the world that signed up, 137 countries that have signed this agreement, to impose a minimum tax on their corporations, on their overseas earnings of at least 15%.
But our understanding of this is they'll impose that 15% minimum, and then they'll actually take out things like their subsidies, where our credits that have been passed in law won't count on that, but their subsidies will.
Many of our credits will count on that.
But their subsidies won't, yeah.
Well, it's structured so that direct subsidies aren't counted, whether we give them or they give them.
Right.
But on the tax side, it does count. But we certainly would work with Congress to make sure that the benefits that Congress intended, the business credits, are structured so that they will be available.
So yeah, that is reassuring to hear, because we've not had this sense of working with Congress through this process. It seems to be a deal that's negotiated everywhere else, and it's coming back to us last. Obviously, according to the Constitution, revenue changes have to be done through Congress and have to be voted on here. There seems to be an incentive to be able to move to something very different. This is the same thing we're dealing with the foreign tax credit piece right now. The foreign tax credits, the regulation was actually put out in January. A lot of companies, including companies in my state in Oklahoma, are really struggling to be able to understand that. We've had folks from Treasury that have come out and said more guidance is needed, but it seems to be the train is still moving, and they're still trying to figure out only with an audit at some future date if they were following the rules or not on this, because the guidance has not actually come out on time. So can you help me with the foreign tax credit piece to know, is this going to be delayed, or is this still going to be implemented this year when there's not guidance, but there's been a change, and it's been a change that's been different than what's happened for decades?
Well, we have issued a regulation,
But no
but we
guidance.
do understand that there are some issues that businesses have around it, and we certainly wish to work with you to address those.
Will it be delayed, the implementation, until they get guidance?
Time of the gentleman's expired. Let's get an answer to this.
I don't think it will be delayed, but we
Thank-
will work to address issues with it.